Hey everyone, you are tuning in for the season premiere of Scorpion, season 3. We're going to talk about it all. Walter and Paige, that's annoying. Toby and Happy, we will talk about it all. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. Taking it back. Yes. So we were starting out the show with one of our favorite songs from high school because we didn't know what else to play. Yeah. So we went with one of our favorite songs because you are tuning in, let's be real, not only to AFTERBUZZ TV for Scorpion, but to the Monse and Susannah show. Yeah, pretty much. Real. So we're going to show you our favorite song from high school.
Yeah, if you guys came back, because most likely you didn't.
Yeah, you know you came back. Don't play. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are so excited to be here. Season premiere of Scorpion, season 3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3. I am Monse Bolanos. So excited to be here with you. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. You can also find my BFF from high school. Here we are 10 years later, Susannah Kim.
Yes, you guys can find me at Susannah_Kim, SUSANNAH_Kim.
Jess.
Yeah.
You look great.
Oh, thanks.
Love
you
the
do
choker.
Too. Yeah, thank you.
Love it all.
Yeah,
Just
love the lips.
rocking
Your hair
it.
looks natural and beautiful.
Here we are. Dude, season 3.
Yeah. You've been here from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Wow.
I've been here.
I just dropped in last season.
And I'm still as into the story because I want to know, so what? Because I want to know what the hell's going to happen with Walter and Paige. But here we are, season premiere, 2-hour episode that we are going to talk about in the next 40 minutes. We're going to talk about it all. We will leave the mission last because I think it's more important for us to talk about the relationships that we got right in the very first episode. 2 hours long, like a mini movie. It was a mini action movie. You know?
Entitled Civil War and More Civil War.
So clever.
That was the best they had.
Yeah. All
But
right.
I mean, what else are we gonna? Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's
Civil
true.
War again.
But let's start with the couple of the show, Walter and frickin' Paige.
So annoying.
So annoying. I am done. Like,
What I was saying was, when I was trying to talk to you and you were like, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I was saying that I wanted to go back and see what we said on our finale of our last show, what our predictions were, to see like what we thought, what was happening there. So I wonder if if we thought that they were going to get together.
I feel like we didn't because we know that these writers are stretching this story out as much as they possibly can. They are literally doing this to torture us.
Yeah, it is torture. Speaking of which, I caught a little bit of the finale. They have the finale producers cut or something, or with the producers commentary.
Okay.
And you can hear them talk. I love them. I love the
What did they
producers.
enlighten us?
I don't, just like their personality, the way they were talking, they like kind of joke around. I don't know. It was just
It was fun to hear.
Yeah,
it was
they were
good to
so
listen.
funny. Yeah, and they're super casual. Like they seem really hip, and like I was loving on them.
I am not loving on what we got in this episode for Walter and Paige.
Yeah,
I am not loving.
it's frustrating.
So frustrating.
What
And
kind
maybe
of expected?
You know what? And maybe they're doing this on purpose. You know, like the episode in the storyline of Walter and Paige, it starts off literally how they left off. Walter going to Tahoe to stop Paige from going with Tim after he told them to go together to this jazz festival. He is going to stop them to tell Paige that he loves her. So it literally picks up the same way. He's driving to Tahoe, and we see Paige and Tim at the resort or wherever they're supposed to be staying. And Tim makes a comment like, man, this date has gone so wrong.
Yeah.
The food wasn't open. Here we are having like whatever Klondike bars. That's not what they were having, but something according
Yeah,
like something like a
having.
Klondike bar from a vending machine, and just
And their room reservation got switched.
They were supposed to have joining rooms. Now they're like
separate singles.
separate singles. All this stuff, and at this point, you don't really know what's going on. You don't think Walter has anything to do with it.
Right.
Walter, we know Walter shows up, and he shows up, sees them kissing, and it's just like,
I kind of, right when it started, I was like, I knew that was gonna happen. That they were gonna be like, kind of into it, and he would see that and like pretty much, bow out or, you know, just
change his
give
mind
up,
as
pretty
to
much.
what he was doing initially in the first place, which was going to tell them that he loves Paige.
Yeah.
He sees them kissing and he backs off, which is
figure.
so annoying.
Yeah.
Because this is what we've been getting for the last season and a half.
Okay, so then that means that the finale of this season
Can't be this.
we're definitely gonna get them together, right?
Right?
'Cause
Or not.
They've already done it once or twice.
Like, she's got to be engaged to Tim by
Yeah.
the end of the season.
No.
If she is not with Walter by the end of the season,
Right?
I boycott.
baby daddy comes back.
Baby
and then-
daddy comes back, I'm boycotting. I just don't get how long they can stretch the story without it pissing off
Ross and Rachel.
more than.
Yeah.
But that's different. And you know why that was different? Not because it's my
'Cause they
favorite
got
show.
married.
No, not because it's my
They were
favorite
on
show.
a break.
They were on a break. That was a 30-minute sitcom. That is
Okay.
something that you could like deal with for much longer than an hour drama.
So that in that math, around season 5, we're gonna
Right, because in Friends, it was like, what, season 3 when they got together?
Yeah.
When they officially got together, even though we
Right.
knew Ross was like in love with Rachel. Why are we talking about Friends so much? But it's true. We're comparing this to Friends.
Because like that's the most drawn out.
Yeah, that's the most drawn out relationship. And it was like, here we are, and
They're still doing it to us.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing of Walter backing up, backpedaling on what he originally wants to do, what he originally wants to express, and he doesn't do it.
And I love that everyone notices everyone knows what's going on. How is it so obvious to everyone else? Even what's Ralph made a little point. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
When
that's
he
gonna
can be-
confuse Mom.
Yeah,
he says
or
that.
like, or he's like, oh, coming back from Lake Tahoe, you know,
Yeah.
like makes little jabs. Like,
Yeah.
even he's picking up on it. How
Right.
is Paige not aware of what's going on? You know what I mean?
And I don't think she's not aware. I just feel like she is not. Like I think she's aware, but she's waiting for Walter to be like,
Make the move.
I'm in love with you.
Right.
And until he does that, she's
Right.
like, no, he can't
He's not
possibly
ready.
be in love with me.
That's
not what
true.
he's doing. But it is,
That's
it's so
true.
it's so frustrating to like go back to the same situation from the
Yeah,
beginning.
totally.
From the beginning of the freaking episode. Because he shows up in Lake Tahoe. They're all in Lake Tahoe. The mission starts, which we'll talk about the mission and what they have to do. But Cabe sends a jet to pick them up in Lake Tahoe, all 3 of them.
So awkward.
And like the awkwardness is throughout the whole show. We'll get to the mission, but let's talk about their relationship throughout the show. Like they separate in the middle of the mission to go on and do their own part of the mission because you know there's like 27 missions that they have to do in this one episode.
Same mission more.
So many missions, but they separate to do their own thing and like. You know, from the beginning, Paige, even when they're in the car off to Long Beach to figure out the like whole signal thing,
Long
and
Beach?
she like I know right, Long Beach, really close to home. She's like, let's take off our comms and let's talk about this. Like, why did you come to Lake Tahoe? Why are you here? He could have said something there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he had a lot of chances.
He had a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And
he
then
had
he-
2 hours worth of chances.
Seriously, and then doesn't say anything. Still negates it, says he wants to listen to jazz and whatnot. It's like, Walter, you're so frustrating. I want to slap you through the television. And so they continue on with their part of the mission, which we will talk about. But they talk about their relationship, and he says, no, nothing. Then she sees text messages that tell us that he sabotaged her trip to Tahoe with Tim. The
got
trip
caught.
that he initiated for her.
He pretty much like set up a romantic weekend for them and then took it apart.
And then took it apart. Calls them and calls the Department of Health and
Right.
closes the restaurant. Calls them and changes the adjoining rooms to separate rooms. And she figures it out. Now, like always, I feel like we are huge fans of Catherine McPhee. And I'm going to give it up to her in this point. When she realizes this and they're like talking, and she's like, what the hell did you do, Walter?
Yeah.
All of that. I believed it.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, I believe everything you are saying right now. You are so angry, but so good. She's so good. I love her. I love her. I just want to watch. I just want to see the Catherine McPhee show. I think that's what I want to watch. She was so good at portraying the anger.
Yes, she was good, but it was so annoying. Like, it was so frustrating because I feel like they should have kept talking. Like, they should have, like, you know, like, obvious. She asks a question and then she leaves, you know? She's like, what's your problem? And then he doesn't have a good answer, obviously.
He doesn't.
She should have made him give an answer or made him explain himself, and she doesn't. She's kind of just like, I can't deal with this right now, and then it lingers.
But I get what you're saying, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Being in Paige's shoes after like dealing with Walter so much, wouldn't at this point you'd be like fed up with it?
Yeah.
To like not want to listen, because she didn't want to listen. She walked away from him like 3 times.
Yeah.
And he chased her like twice. He like went after her, and she was like, I don't care. Like, she makes a comment like, I've been waiting to tell you this for 2 years. You were wrong. Like, you crossed the line with Paige that I don't think he can go back to.
So you don't think there's any part of this that's like maybe on her a little bit too? Maybe?
I don't.
It's hard to say, right?
Because you're asking a question.
I'm also playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
also playing
saying,
devil's
just
and you're
to
asking
say.
a question of like a general like a big
like a
umbrella.
big sexist question.
Like your question is like really big, and what I'm talking about is like a specific. It's like to this particular moment. I'm not saying that she doesn't have anything to do with like what's going on with their relationship and what it's come down to this point.
Yeah.
But right now, what's happening right now? Walter messed
I
up.
think it's on him. Yeah.
This exact moment as to what they're fighting about.
Right, with him, with the hotel thing and all that stuff. Yeah.
This is his fault. But you're right. She also has some owning up to do when it comes to their relationship.
Right.
Because she's also like I'm not going to say lagging, but like also waiting for him to come.
Exactly, yeah. Because we also, we assume that she's also into him. Is it not then maybe uncomfortable for you to go to Lake Tahoe with Tim?
And he even asks, like when they're in Lake Tahoe, and he asks her, because at the end of the last season, there's like a hesitation with her to go, and he's like, "Are you sure you weren't upset about what happened with our rooms and like all this stuff?" And she says no.
Yeah.
When she probably should have said yes.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
And I would love to see a little conversation with her and Ralph talking about Walter, right? Wouldn't that be so fun to see, right?
That would
if anyone's listening that could make that happen, I would love to see that.
That would be so good.
Because Ralph is so aware.
Smart, and he's so aware.
Exactly. And he probably has a good, analysis of this relationship going on that maybe the two of them might listen to over, like, say, Toby's analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like how, it's funny how the show is doing this to us. How, like, Walter messes up, and all we want is for him to kind of go after Paige, and he goes after Paige, but she's not having it.
Right.
The whole episode, she's not having it. Even down at the end of the episode, like, we've had their drama, and like, they've talked about it. She says, I don't want to hear it. No, blah, 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 blah. He says in the calm, I love you. And she doesn't hear it, but Tim hears it, and everyone else hears it. And then at the end, Sylvester, when they're back at the garage, brings food, and like he's like, "We're a family. Like, let's do this together. Everybody kind of just forget about their problems and let's do this together because we're sharing food, family style."
Right.
And
So
Walter
cute.
still is like, "I'm not hungry."
Yeah. I know. He reverts to being a baby so often.
And
And
it
even at the
kills
end when
me.
he, like, almost makes that call to the health department again. You know what I mean?
But
he grew up, like, a couple years, I guess. And
I guess.
He didn't make that call, so sort of.
It's just like, I really hope we see.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, everybody. Let's
Sorry, I'm trying to
kung
join
fu
the chat
fighting.
to see if anyone's chatting with us.
It's just so. I just don't want this to go on for the next, I don't know how many episodes. They probably have about 20 episodes. That seems like how long the last couple seasons have been.
Real quick, sorry. We have Nell Von Gelger always with us.
Yes,
And we also
thank
have
you.
Steven Starr joining us again.
Hey, Steven
Best
Starr.
After Show's back. And Chanel, I missed y'all. Both of y'all look great.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate it. We're so appreciated.
Yes.
We hope you're as frustrated as us.
Right? Yeah.
When it
Let me
comes
know,
to
'cause
wage.
I'm here now.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's on it. Let us know, because we're as frustrated about wage as you are. But let's go on to, wait, Dodd, if you have anything else to say about wage, put it in the comments. But how about Walter and Cabe? Because I did
and
feel like this episode, Cabe was like, listen, you can't do this to Paige. You are holding her back because you are not adult
Yes.
enough.
Yeah.
Literally what he told him.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Me neither. Me neither. That
Right?
was like a nice little like you know,
That was a
wrench in the
surprise.
mix.
Yeah, and ouch, man, when you told him, that hurt. He was like, "You need to grow up, and this
you
is what's
can't
best
go
for her."
after her.
But,
Like,
I mean, what he was saying was totally right. I don't disagree with him at all, and it was very like strong of him to say that to someone that's pretty much his son almost, you know? And he even Walter brought up the fact, like, what if I'm too late? What if, you know, waiting all this time is going to make me too late and she ends up, you know, whatever, getting married or whatever. And Cabe's like, that, but that's what's meant to happen then, you know? That doesn't mean that then she's supposed to be with you who's immature and not ready. I was like, oh my God, this is, you guys preach.
so terrible.
Preach. Can we record this and put this on loop for every man out there, you know?
But it was so true. It was hard to hear, but it was very honest for Cabe to tell him all this. Like, you are not at the mental state to be with Paige.
Yeah.
You're not.
No, she's a
Like,
mom.
she's a mom. She's over here when it comes to relationships, and you're kind of still figuring it out.
Right.
She's got a son.
Right.
Like, there were so many factors, and like,
And he can barely hold a conversation, right? You know what I mean? So
barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
So he's
Even when he
still
was
at
trying
work.
to talk to Paige
Yeah.
while they were in Long Beach, it was just like a hot mess. I was like, stop talking, Walter. You're making it worse. But I agree with you. Like, he was very, like, Cabe was very defensive when he came to Walter, to Tim, because Tim wants to punch him.
Yeah, which I didn't like. There are a lot of colors that I saw of Tim that I did not like throughout the whole episode. Tim was kind of a bully in a lot of right. I mean, there was that one time when he was when like the comms came back on right after Walter said, you know, oh, I wanted to tell you that I loved you, and Tim was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, he was like, we're gonna talk about this after. I was like, oh, it sounds like he's like, I'm gonna get you, like, right? I'm gonna meet me at recess. You know what I mean?
And it's like, who are you with Paige? You are nothing.
Exactly.
You are not
right?
even.
What's your name again? What are you doing in this group? Are you even on the team officially?
Seriously.
Did you get a shirt?
Did you get a shirt? Seriously. I'm with you. He annoyed me, but I feel like he's annoyed me the whole show.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I was being like a little bit, you know, biased. But I agree with you. He annoyed me the whole show, and it was like, you need to shut up. Just
shut up.
You need to shut up. You need to find a new assignment, because you don't fit into Scorpion at all. Go away,
We
Tim.
don't need you. We don't need you. Let's get back Ray.
Oh, Ray! I miss Ray.
He's probably due for another job.
He really is. Bring him back in and bring him back here.
Exactly.
Also, Ray, just come back. Even if you're not in the season, come back, Ray.
Kevin. Okay. Anyways.
What about Tappy?
This is what I was excited about. Yeah. I love them.
So
I kind of like hashtag call Ray.
Call Ray! Yes!
Please,
Hashtag call Ray. We would love Ray. Maybe we should we're going to reach out. Maybe Ray will come back. Who knows? We'll be like, hey, are you coming to the show? Maybe he'll come back.
We can make it happen.
Anyway, we're gonna make stuff happen here. Don't you worry. We know what we're doing. We're gonna make stuff happen. Tappy, Toby, and freaking Happy.
Man, rough goings.
So if you guys remember, he proposed at the end of the last season. She says no. It's revealed she's married.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. So, do you think that we know who she's married to?
We have to.
Because
if we don't know who she's married to, this whole story has been a waste of my time. Writers, are you listening? If we don't know who she's married to, why have you made a big deal out of this?
yeah. So who do you think she's married to then?
Colin.
Do you have really?
I think it's Colin.
Okay, I have a weird theory that I just thought of.
Who's the theory?
I think that she could what if she's married to Walter?
Okay, I thought that too. Okay. I thought I just backed up. For those of you in the podcast not watching us, I just
Right.
backed off from my seat because I thought that too. Dude, it wouldn't shock me. Not one bit. He messes with the marriage license online.
Yeah, he jumped right on that.
He did jump right on that,
Why
like
button?
100%. Why do that? And like, I feel like if we didn't know who it was, why do they keep hinting like we do?
Right.
They're making this a much bigger story, and I love it. I love the storyline.
I love it.
I'm so
It's
into
so
it.
good.
So into it. And I love that Toby even said, Colin said that you couldn't marry me.
Right.
Why would he say that?
And it would make sense that Colin might know maybe
If
that
it's
it's
Walter.
100%.
100%. It could be,
I
to
kind of
me,
want
it's
it to
like,
be Walter. I'm kind of thinking maybe some sort of like green card situation.
yes,
or
I
like,
totally think it's a green card situation.
I think the actress
Isn't she
is from Canada.
Yes, exactly. She's from Canada.
Yeah, so I was like, wonder
yeah.
if they're gonna like,
Use
bring that
that.
in.
I'm with you.
So I'm thinking it could be Walter, and that would be epic, and it would make sense because it's like, who else would it be forgivable, but also unforgivable? You know what I mean?
But it's like, if it's Walter, if it is
So good.
Walter, how could you just not just be like, I married Walter for a green card? That's why but I thought it was Walter for a second. Like, that came into my mind.
But then maybe that's why they did so much of the whole like Walter versus Toby thing last season. Do you think maybe? I mean, this is just like really digging into it, but
Right.
because they did that last season,
Yeah,
I was
they
kind of like,
did.
why are they doing this all of a sudden? You know,
It
And we
was a
mentioned
little
that.
bit of a competition between them.
And like, so maybe that has something to do with it, or I don't know. But that's a good point. Why wouldn't she just tell him?
Yeah, I feel like, and if it's Walter, it's fine. Like, I get it, but it's also at the same time, like, just being a devil's advocate. It's like, why couldn't you just tell him if it was Walter? Aren't you all friends?
Or maybe they did date, they just weren't in love, or something like that. And she doesn't want to tell him.
And the way the way she's talked about it this episode, like, I never loved this person. I don't care about this person. Da 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 da. It seems like it's literally someone like Colin, like it's still a green card situation.
Right.
Why couldn't she need the green card and married Colin?
Right.
I don't want it to be Colin. Crazy ass Colin.
yeah.
I don't want it to be Colin. But if it's Walter, I just feel like why not just tell him?
Steven Stars and she married to Ray. Oh, JK. But that would bring him back.
But that would bring Ray back, and I'm all for that. I am all for that. But I enjoyed how throughout the entire episode, Toby did not let it go.
Yeah. I mean, as well. I mean, that makes sense.
Totally.
You just got shot down from a marriage proposal. That sucks.
Yeah.
It kind of drove him nuts, which I love. I love when characters kind of go a little
rogue.
crazy. Yeah, like a little nuts for like an episode or two.
Yeah.
I love that.
I loved all of that. I loved how literally from beginning to end, it was not dropped in Toby's mind.
Oh,
it didn't
no.
matter what they were doing. Didn't matter what part of the mission they were in. He was gonna drop in
I
comments.
love that about him.
So-
He's such a
so
romantic.
good. Such a
and
romantic.
So, like, happy is his priority.
And you know what I noticed? That Scorpion does this a lot. This doesn't really have to do with the relationships, but I appreciate it. How much they really like drop little things at the beginning of the episode that are relevant at the end of the episode.
yeah, of
down
course.
to the confetti.
Yeah.
Down to the Sylvester's clay that he was like playing with for
Right.
stress.
The
Like,
aluminum foil ball.
The aluminum foil
yeah.
balls, like so
Now
many
I'm starting to like
things.
pick up on them though. When they
Me
bring them up,
too.
I'm like, they're gonna use that.
Me too. Me 100% too. It's funny how they do that. Like they drop it in at the beginning and then it comes back at the end. And they do this frequently. But I did like Toby being Toby the whole episode. Everywhere.
I love him.
Like when they were trying to help the woman in the jet plummet down and like save them. And he was like, we're about to die. Let's not have any secrets. I smell your gloves. I did this.
Yeah.
Who did you marry? Like,
yeah.
he just wants to know who she married. And she's like, not budging.
Yeah. I love it. I love that storyline.
Who could it be?
Oh no.
If it's somebody we don't know, what a waste.
Right. Which
What
means
a
it has to
waste.
be Walter.
Walter or
Collins.
who else could it be?
Or baby daddy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be
There's
somebody
no one
we
else-
know.
I can't
If
think
it's
of
not
anyone
someone we
else
know,
that
this
we've
would not. This
seen.
is gonna suck.
That has been significant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one else.
I agree. All right, should we go into the mission that has like 7 missions?
Yeah.
All wrapped into one?
Woof.
Here we are, guys. Mini action movie
Yeah.
put together for us by Scorpion.
There's so much to follow.
Oh, so much to follow. If we've missed anything and what we're about to talk about in the next 20 minutes, we apologize. But we're going to try and jam-pack every part of the mission.
Right.
Because as you know, it wasn't just one. We start with these warplanes, these F-130s being hijacked, and they're being controlled by who knows what. But that's the beginning of the episode, and we get an admiral coming in and says, like, we got hijackers, they're controlling these F-130s, this is going on, but you think, like always, that the mission is this big. You think the mission is tiny. Oh, it's just figured out these hackers. No big deal.
Right. Which is why I thought it was kind of weird when they started out the whole episode by saying, this is the biggest case Scorpion has ever seen. Which, after we get through episode 1 and 2, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a huge case. But how did you know that from the get-go? You know, I thought that was kind of weird.
I did think that, too.
I would have liked it more if they were like, okay, this will be real quick, and then we're going to get back to our Monday.
Right.
You know, or whatever. But, you know, it ends up being ridiculously crazy.
How did you know?
It was going to be that crazy, you know? I felt like, I mean, hackers getting into a pilot, like, I feel like we've seen bigger things happen to LA.
It's true. It's very true.
So I thought that was kind of weird.
So there are these hackers, which is why Walter, Paige, and Tim from Tahoe have to come back to the garage so they could figure out this stuff. They have an admiral in the mix who is telling them all this information. Everybody is at the garage. Now, here's my one question. After the start at the garage, where everybody's at the garage, including Ralph, where does Ralph go?
Yeah.
Where the hell did Ralph go? No, pero for real, where the hell did he go?
Yeah.
That dude was like, he was here with Sly, and Sly was like, I'm babysitting, I can't leave him. And then it was like, poof. Ralph does not matter for the rest of the episode. We didn't even see him back at the garage. What the hell happened to Ralph, y'all? Tell me. Writers, we paying attention to this.
I thought that there was a point
Nope,
at
there's not.
at the very end where Sly gets saved or someone calls in something for Sly, and I thought that maybe that was Ralph. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, when he's like, Michael?
Yeah.
No.
What is that?
It's the the crazy woman. That's what I took from
lady.
that.
Oh. Yeah, okay, so
Where the hell was Ralph?
Care.com.
That was my seriously. That was my only complaint when it came to that, because I was like, "Where the hell is Ralph? He was there. He's not. I don't understand. I have to cough."
Monty's really concerned about child care.
I was concerned about Ralph. I just didn't understand where the heck he was. Talk.
Yeah. I actually didn't notice that, I guess.
You didn't, dude.
I thought that was their way of bringing him, like, mentioning him later, but I guess they weren't, so.
Because they showed up, like, he shows at the garage with Sylvester in his super fun guy pajamas.
Yeah.
With the silly putty.
Yeah.
He's, like, squeezing. Whatever. And he helps for a moment, like Ralph helps. And he asks for like a cereal or like a candy. Then Paige is like, oh yeah, find out where the hackers are in Eastern Europe and I'll get you this candy or this cereal or whatever.
True.
And then they go off into their missions. And it's like, where's Ralph? Where'd he go?
Are you sure they didn't drop in a line somewhere explaining?
Para, te lo juro, I swear to Lucifer, he was gone the whole episode. And they didn't say anything. And I was like, where's Ralph?
If you guys could explain that.
I just want to know. I just want to know a little bit about that. I just want to know about that. So we got these hijacked planes, and Toby, the behaviorist, is able to kind of narrow down these people. He figures out that they're smart, that they're businessmen, because he like makes comments in English, and he's like, they don't speak English. He profiles them. I still have to cough.
Oh man, she's dying, you guys. We might not be here next week.
We're not gonna make it to this episode. I was dying like 2 weeks ago, guys. I swear I'm almost alive. And so they profile these guys. They know they're from like Eastern Europe type of thing, but they still have to venture off into different missions. And here we see a little bit of a struggle between Tim and Walter, because Walter separates the groups.
Yeah, this too.
What did you think about this?
He was like such a baby about it.
Because he separates him?
Exactly, and he's like all complaining. It's like, oh, so you want to stay here with Paige? Boy, that is not your call to make, first of all. He's the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what he logically thinks makes sense, and that's what makes sense. Like, it's so unprofessional of you to be like, well, you're going to stay with the girl that I like, and I have to go to Bulgaria. Calm down. Aren't you
up, Tim.
person in military? You know what I mean? Like, what is wrong
to go
with
into
you?
a foreign
I hate
country?
him so much.
Tim, you're annoying. Yes, we agree with all that. But they separate. Tim gets upset that Walter has to go with Paige. It's just some crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a baby, it's some baby stuff.
Grow up.
But then they go off.
God, love
But then they go off, and Walter and Paige go off to Long Beach because they think that they are using what did they? something. They have like a weird name for this building in Long Beach, which is like connected to the Pentagon and has like this very strong signal.
Right.
I can't think of the name that they used, but they go that way to try and interrupt the signal.
Right.
But they also know that the hackers come from Sofia, Bulgaria, right? Mm-hmm. So they send Tim and Cabe and Sly to Bulgaria. Off they go with a pilot that they don't even trust.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
The pilot's like, no, I'm a good pilot. I burned my hands.
That was such a cute little storyline.
It was
like
so
a side
good.
little storyline.
And I love that it comes back at the end.
Exactly,
Love
yeah.
all that. So they go off to Bulgaria. We have Paige and Walter off in Long Beach. And right now, the like most important part of the mission, like 1.A, we'll talk, is Toby and Happy trying to save this one jet. There are 2 jets that are being hijacked, which is the first part of the episode. They're being hijacked like in circles. They can't control anything. One of them shoots like the other person.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That was crazy. Shoots the other F-130. And so this girl is basically like not able to control her F-130, which is, like a little jet. They're controlling the comms. They're allowing certain things to be heard, certain things to not be heard.
Right.
But they're telling her, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to save you. We're going to control your jet. You're going to drop your fuel. You're going to drop literally in the center of the garage. Then you're going to tip off and go off into safety. Because, Scorpion does missions that are impossible.
Super easy.
But, this is Scorpion. We're used to this by now. If you've been watching the show, you just accept the fact that these missions are ridiculous and that they can do it. You just accept it. And is literally what this jet does. Plummets down.
Yeah.
And
it gets all the little loaded information that it needs or something, and then flies off into the riverbed. I kind of wish they would have showed. I like how she was like, "Thank you to you and your team," and like has this like really kind of deep moment, and they don't respond with anything. They don't even.
not at all.
They just move on right along with their conversation.
Yep.
Toby was like, "So are you gonna answer my question or not?"
So you tell me who you're married to?
She's probably like, "Cool, guys. Thanks for
talk.
my service."
Good talk. Thanks for saving me.
Right.
Thanks for saving me.
Right.
But
Glad we did this.
That's not the end of this mission.
No.
Because these
It's only,
hackers.
like the beginning.
That's only the beginning. Not only have these hackers taken these F-130s, but they have put 4 U.S. destroyers set up to like make a square on the USA. Like
like on the border.
Like on the
Yeah.
border. Like, like the USA, they're like covering everything. I think Long Beach, they said Long Beach, Boston, Miami, and Portland, right? So it's like a square. And they have these destroyers set up with missiles to basically corner off the US. So this is literally point 2 of the freaking mission that they have to do. And they got to find these hackers. They send off the people to Bulgaria, and then the others go to Long Beach. The Long Beach scenario with Walter and Paige, they go to like the Pentagon's something. I don't remember what name they use, but it's like an important building, and they even say it's non-discreet. It's on purpose. It's there just to kind of like control some of the signals. They go in there, and this is one of the parts where Walter almost starts to reveal his feelings, and he starts,
Yeah.
but then there's a missile coming right at them.
Yeah. So I guess that time wasn't exactly his fault. I guess I'll give that one to the missile.
Fine, we'll give it to the missile. Fine, whatever. But there's a missile, and then they're like, we have 50 seconds or like a minute till this missile hits us, and we
Right.
have to figure out a way.
I was like, that's a slow missile.
Mira.
Right?
Mira, this one I was like, you guys, I can't believe this, and there's no way
Our
that the
missile's
rest of the
actually
world is
that
believing
slow?
it either.
Right. And I mean, if it's a minute long, obviously someone started to see it. Like, wouldn't it be a huge thing by then? You know what I mean? I don't, yeah. Yeah.
I'm popping on cough drop, y'all.
Not just, and then it doesn't end there. The whole thing where they...
that whole thing.
That whole thing, yeah.
So missiles coming 50 seconds, and they're trying to figure out a way to stay alive. He opens up the elevators
Elevator
with the jaws
shaft.
of life with like the thing for the fire extinguisher with the axe.
She's all mad.
And then with the silly putty, they slide down. I don't know how many flights down this
Yeah.
elevator, rope or wire, whatever you want to freaking call. And then they make it, like the missile hits.
Oh, yeah.
Fire gets pretty much down to where they are.
Right? I was like, did he calculate that? That it was only gonna reach
No.
down to like singe their head tops?
Literally,
You know what
it
I mean?
like it
Her
gave
hair
him a
looked
little bit of an
fine.
alfalfa.
Yeah.
Like such so unbelievable.
Yeah.
They do that, then they're like, oh, the wire is gonna snap. So then,
And they just
not
barely
only
make it
did
out.
they just literally ditch or just miss the missile, now they just miss
The elevator.
the elevator snapping.
Right?
I was like, no, come mierda,
We
eso
need
no
that.
pasa.
I don't
Are
know
you
if we
kidding
needed
me?
all that.
Not believable. I didn't like any of that. I didn't like any of that, but they survived. And this is where we already talked about. Paige finds out that Walter sabotages her night. And then they go on to their problems in their relationship. But on the other side of the world, Bulgaria,
Yes.
we got these guys trying to find out where the skunk is.
Yeah.
I like the skunk.
Yeah.
He was funny. Like
He was funny. I thought he would be scarier.
Right. And he
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't. So they go find the skunk, who is this like big gambler who would know where these hackers are.
Right.
He's just like a big person, and they're like, he's gotta know where these hackers are. They show up and they have like a hidden like Vegas
Casino,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah, like you
Casino.
can only go in there if you got thousands of dollars. And they have the right amount of membership, thousands of dollars, and they get in. And all they want to do is really get the skunk's attention.
Yeah.
So like, Sylvester, you gotta come and you're gonna do this math stuff.
Math stuff.
This
Yeah.
math stuff. They're
Counting
playing
cards.
baccarat. What do they call that?
Sure.
Something. Some with cards and numbers. I don't know. But they're playing something, and they're like, Sylvester, you're gonna do this. You're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get this guy's attention, and that's how we're gonna find out where the hackers are. I loved all of this, actually.
Yeah.
Everything in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I thoroughly
liked
enjoyed.
it too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know, like, they always kind of separate Sly off, like, on his own. Why is he always on his own? He's never really part of the team during the missions
And
a
it's
lot
funny
of times.
because they always make it seem like he doesn't want to be part of like the big mission, but
Right.
he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's always part of the big mission because it always has to do with like calculations, and he has to be present
Right.
when it comes to this crazy stuff. So they get to the place where the skunk is, and you know, Sylvester like bets like $8,000 on the first hand,
Right, yeah.
and he's all excited, like playing against these like scary dudes. After winning, I think what they said was 15 hands in a row.
Yeah.
The skunk calls him up.
Right, of course.
Billy's, let's chit chat. Who the hell are you? Why are you taking my money? He shows up with Cabe and like Tim, and they say they're these like online hackers that never got paid properly, did this like job, and they're just trying to figure out who gypped them from their money.
Right.
So the guy, the skunk, he's like, all right, that's cool. I'll give you this information, but you give me Sly for like a couple hours.
Yeah. I knew as soon as he tested him, he was like, oh, he's going to want him. He's going to want to keep him and use him for something.
And that's what he wanted him for, to get money back, because there was this like guy who kept showing up, who kept taking his money. So he just wanted to get some leverage back. All of that I loved. Let's finish that storyline with Sly. Sly has to get dressed in some dead mob's clothes.
Yeah.
Because the jacket they gave him has a hole in it. So some dead mob's clothes. They tell him, don't talk because your accent's gonna give you away.
Right.
So he literally has to be like quiet. And Toby tells them, no means yes, yes means no.
Right. Which he forgot.
We forgot.
Perfect.
They're playing cards. They're playing whatever.
How can you be so smart and also
so dumb at the same time? How is that? The other guy has like alcohol, so like passing alcohol. Point, he messes up. He messes up a straight that they're playing and loses a ton of money.
Yeah.
The skunk and his sidekicks go on a little festive celebration.
Whatever you want to call it.
He said something about like a celebration dinner or something.
Yeah.
No, it is to kill Sly.
Take him out into the woods.
And I love when they're driving, and then the guy's like, you lost me X amount of money. And Sylvester's like, no, I didn't. I lost you $209,000 in exchange because I remember there was this amount left. Da, 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 da. And he
Right.
sees the guy, like, hit the skunk sidekick's pocket.
Basically figures out that this guy's been cheating money off of him,
Right.
gets him in trouble, and
Pull
the guy
over the
leaves
car.
him over. Yeah. And Sly's able to get away that way.
And we meet this crazy woman
Yeah, so she's
In the
out in the
woods.
woods.
who has a husband. Husband, I'm using air quotes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what
It
that
was a
was.
little confusing. but
was
uses
weird.
air quotes. We're gonna use air quotes. Michael. And so Sylvester uses this like white noise machine to try and contact his friends.
Right.
But we are kind of told that he doesn't reach them because the skunk shows up.
Right.
And the skunk's like, we're not done. We're going to do this. Da, 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 da. And then the skunk and his other sidekick and Sylvester are off in the woods, this dark area. And then, like, something happens because it's the pilot. That pilot that nobody trusted shows up with the jet.
So then are we to believe that crazy old lady with the tree husband called in coordinates to the pilot? Is that what we're saying?
That's what
That's why I thought it was Ralph. But no, you're right. Because what the name makes sense.
And they even make a comment. They're like,
why?
but Cal, but it sounded like a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
They make a comment, yeah.
But why her? Like, really? Her?
I know.
Does she even know what coordinates are?
Exactly.
She doesn't even have a phone. Does she even know how to use a phone? Does it really work? I don't know. That was weird.
But we are led to believe that this woman saved Sylvester's life and that the pilot that nobody wanted that led him to Bulgaria, shows up and saves Sylvester's life.
Right? She so real quick, and her English was also really good.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, okay, sorry.
But
yeah.
no, yeah. But
and then
for
the
real.
guy saves his life. I liked that. I liked that the guy saved his life. I thought
I did too.
it was convenient, but yeah, I like that he came to the rescue.
I like that too.
He had his mission. He had his
he needed that.
one mission of his lifetime.
Yep. He needed that.
that he always wanted.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And so he goes back and Sylvester is safe. That's Sylvester's storyline. Now, halfway through the Bulgaria situation, Tim and Cabe try and go find a hacker. Like, they leave Sylvester to hang out with the skunk and try and get him his money back. Then they go off and find a hacker. They went to the address that the skunk gave them, and there was, like, one hacker. And they're like, this is not the main hacker. This hacker was, like, left behind to distract us while the other hackers are still controlling the whole situation.
Right.
And boy, are these hackers controlling the whole situation. Not only, so we dealt with the first F-130s, then we go to Long Beach, and there's a missile that is, attacking Walter and Paige. And then you think that's the end, but it's not. There is a submarine that has been hijacked, and we don't know where the submarine is.
Right.
So now we're on this, trying to find a submarine that has, like, just, what did they call them? Nukes. That has nukes already, like, ready to take on the world. And they're like, okay, we got to stop the nukes. How do they stop these nukes? Giant aluminum balls.
Yeah.
They want to make like a meteor shower, like an aluminum shower.
Right. They're trying to take out the
signal. They're trying to block the signal so they regain control for like a second. That's what I didn't like about this episode. I felt like it was a lot of block the signal so we regain control for like a moment.
It was
every time.
every situation.
Yeah. It was never gaining full control.
Right. It's like you're saying, like it wasn't the confetti that actually took out the nukes. It was really they just block the signal and they get the stuff back. Couldn't you just do that from the comfort of your home?
And they go get these giant balls, and the giant balls get shot up into the air as Walter is being shot, and it's like confetti, which is quite funny as we have confetti throughout the episode, and he's trying, and Toby's trying to sweep the confetti. The aluminum confetti is like falling. It causes like a break in the signal that the hackers have, so that they're able to control it, but it doesn't really work. Everything they do doesn't really work. There's always like they're one step ahead, and we have to try and figure it out.
Right.
So that doesn't work, and they realize that they need more than just that. They need like a magnetic field to help with this submarine. Now this scene, I was like, seriously? This is crap. When Paige and Happy dive into this like these tubes of oil that they stop for 10 minutes, and they're like, you have to hurry up or else you're gonna die like a dinosaur in oil, blah blah blah. Why does it have to be Paige?
Why? Yeah, why would they send
Out
Paige?
of all of them, why Paige?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
I don't understand
And of course she's the one that slips up and is the reason why they can't,
why they can't do it.
Make it on time or whatever.
And because of that, the submarine is like, this is not going to work out. And the missile or the nuke from the submarine is directed to hit Wyoming, like one of the cities in Wyoming, that would hit 10,000 people.
Right.
So, like, the sub is like, it's okay. The greater good. Like, the leader of the sub, the captain, whatever his name is, he's like, we will let our sub sink, and they can't control the nuke. If we let kind of like take the power out of our sub, we will sink. We will die.
We will die.
110 of us versus 10,000 is the greater good.
We have a quick correction from John Post. The aluminum shower was for the ships, not the sub. Yes, it was ships at first.
Yes, it was ships at first.
The magnets in the pipe was for the sub.
Yes.
And then he said, thank you, it was crap.
It was crap. Either way,
agrees.
it was crap, but you're right. There was a ship first that Walter hops onto the ship during that shower, and then he's talking to the sub.
Yeah.
There was
It was
so
all
much
just
going.
way too much.
It was just so much
It
happening
was all so much
fast.
that I don't care about. Yeah.
Too much, too fast.
Yeah.
It's like you had 2 hours, and still it was too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Like, I needed to go back and watch so many of the parts that I still didn't care about after the 5th time I watched it. I was like, I don't care.
Like, you could have cut certain parts out, and it still would have had the same effect.
Right.
So
exactly.
Walter's on the ship that he was trying to get on, trying to save the sub. And it turns out like the sub is like greater good. We will kill ourselves to save these 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Walter's like, I'm all about the greater good, but no, trust us. You need to basically turn off your sub for a little bit, then we can regain control.
That's
you don't have
we've
to
been doing
die
all day. Yeah.
That's literally the same story over and over.
I feel like it could have been a different situation at least, you know,
Yeah.
or something.
And you wanna tell you how it ended? It ended positively.
Yeah, of course.
They survived.
Of course.
Everyone survived.
We're all okay.
We're all okay. We survived.
Right.
We're all okay. We find the hackers at the movie theater where they worked. These like
Little babies.
teens.
Yeah.
These babies. They knock them out. We catch them, and they stop the nuke going off from the sub.
Yeah.
That's basically
Pretty
what
much.
happened.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. In 2 hours, they gave us the same storyline 4 times in a row.
Yeah. pretty much.
Battle for real.
Yeah, just with different like mediums and different
but it was the same
boats
thing.
and ships and subs and yeah.
But it was the same thing. Break up this signal so we can control during this 2 minutes of time. Ugh. And then how does every episode end? Back at the garage.
Yeah.
Sylvester brings all this food
Family
for
time.
everyone. He talks about family style. And he's like, we need to be a family.
Right.
Nobody gets
Cut
to
the
eat.
crap.
Cut the crap. Toby and Happy seem to cut the crap for that moment.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, we will eat together. We'll be a family. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah,
He's
blah.
like, your husband too?
So funny. The whole episode is so funny. And then Walter, I'm not hungry. Walter, you're so annoying.
Right?
You're so annoying.
He's a child.
But just when you think he can get more annoying, he goes up to Tim and like apologizes and says, I won't interfere. I won't sabotage, or whatever he says to Tim about the relationship. And Tim's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
They shake hands. Tim and Paige go off. They're supposed to pick up Ralph. Where the heck has Ralph been?
Yeah, where are you picking him up from?
Where are you picking him up from? I don't understand, because you've been gone for hours. I don't know where Ralph is. They go off to pick up Ralph, and this is where Cabe basically tells Walter, like, you're being selfish. You can't go after Paige. You're not mature enough. You're not old enough. All this good stuff. And Paige still doesn't know that Walter loves her.
Yeah, I mean, she probably does, but she's just not
being
putting up with
naive.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's how the episode ends. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
sounds
this
about right.
is how we're starting the season, y'all.
Sounds about right.
This is some. I can't. Do we have any?
frustrating.
I don't have any predictions. I mean, I feel like they're gonna stretch out Paige and Tim. Like, this is gonna be the whole freaking season.
Right. The whole season is going to be like this episode where it's the same same issue over and over.
Same issue over
but
and over.
just with different
AfterBuzz
things.
TV predictions.
Like, I
Right?
can't. I don't even have a good prediction, guys.
Yeah.
I don't even have one. I think Tim needs to die.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Tim needs to die. Tim's got to go. He's got to be
You love
sent
when
off
people
somewhere.
die.
I love when people die because they're not going to come back. Tim needs to get sent off to some other mission.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
I would
Tim.
love that.
Adios. That's all I got.
Yeah.
They didn't
also,
give us-
I think it was John Post that also reminded me that it is it's Quintus. It's not Happy. Sorry. Remember we had this last season?
The heart wants what it wants.
Yeah.
Listen, it might be Quintus
Quintus.
to you.
Yeah.
My heart wants it to be Tappy. So I apologize. Guys, I think we covered it all. It was a
Yeah,
lot
it was
to
a
cover in
lot.
40 minutes. We apologize if we missed anything you wanted to talk about, but if there's something we missed and you want us to talk about it, just
Let
tweet
us
us.
know.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, Monse Bolanos. And you can find Susannah Kim too.
Yes, you guys can find me at Susanna_Kim, SUSANNAH_Kim.
We will be here next week.
Yes, we will.
Same time. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more with our relationships
Yeah.
and not the same stuff.
Not be so angry.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in 1 week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.